Hello and welcome to Happy Horror Time. My name is Matt Emmert.
And I'm Tim Murdoch. Today's special guest played the sweetest teacher to ever chaperone a teen graduation cruise. Even if it's from Crystal Lake to New York City, and Jason Voorhees is on board. You know her as Colleen Van Deusen from the late 80s horror sequel, Friday the 13th, Part 8, Jason Takes Manhattan. Please welcome to the podcast, the fabulous Barbara Bingham.
Woo!
Hello.
Hi, Barbara. How are you today?
I'm good, Matt. Hi, Tim. I love your t-shirt, Tim.
Oh, thank you. I'm representing Friday the 13th, Part 8, Jason Takes Manhattan.
Yes, listeners cannot hear. I dropped the ball and I'm wearing my Scream t-shirt today. I feel like such a traitor, Barbara. I'm sorry.
No one cares about your t-shirt.
I won't hold it against you.
I know. Tim has the t-shirt from Friday the 13th, Part 8, as usual. I think, Tim, do you have a shirt from every sequel?
I love Friday the 13th is my favorite series. I love all of them.
Okay. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yes. Okay, so we're going to jump right in. So growing up in Hawaii, how did you get your start in acting?
I was originally going to be a musical dance person. I did musicals in high school. I did Godspell and Wizard of Oz and all these different things. And I thought that was what I was going to do. And went off to college. And funny thing is, I couldn't sing or dance.
Wait.
I relate to that because I was cast in Godspell. I can't read music and I feel very uncomfortable dancing. So I get it. I get it.
Can I just say that's probably the best answer to the first question that we've ever gotten? I wanted to do musical theater, but I couldn't. I wanted to do musical dance, but I couldn't dance or sing. That's amazing.
Okay, so what is left? Okay, I can stand there and smile and look good. Okay, yeah, that's good. That's it. I'll be an actor. So yes, my very first job was on Hawaii 5-0.
Okay.
Well, how perfect, huh?
I know.
Where in Hawaii now did you grow up? I mean, which island?
I lived on Oahu and grew up in Honolulu.
Okay, I ran a marathon there. I don't want to talk about it.
I have also visited Oahu. Beautiful. I've only been to Oahu and Maui, and I feel like I'm missing out because I feel like those are like the two biggest ones. I know this has nothing to do with what we're talking to you about, but had you traveled to all the islands while you grew up there?
Oh yeah, that's what you do. Your summer holiday is going to Kauai or the Big Island, or yeah, absolutely.
Is the North Shore there?
North Shore's on Oahu, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
I was like, which North Shore? No, that is amazing. I mean, I can't even imagine that. But so your first job was on Hawaii 5-0, which
was on the original with Bookham Dano, and so I'm standing on set, and I was playing a secretary to John Hillerman, who was the very mean, terrible boss to me, and James MacArthur, who played Dano, walked up to me and said, are you, you okay? I said, oh yeah, no, I'm okay. And he goes, just hit your marks. You'll be fine. And I looked at him and I said, marks? What are marks? And God bless his soul. He took me through gave me a master class for 15 minutes on how to enter a scene, how to count your steps, how to find your light, and how to exit a scene. It was so generous of him. And I don't know what I would have done had he not been so generous.
Oh, that's so nice.
That is so nice. And you know what? That is such a great story because, I'm sure there's so many stories, especially in the media, of like people on set that are just assholes. You know what I mean?
Yeah, just do it.
So like to have someone, you come in and just asking for help and stuff, and someone takes the time to do that. That is so cool, especially because I could see how it could have shaped your experience, maybe even career, if pretend the guy was horrible to you. You know?
Absolutely. Yeah. Because I was standing on that set and it was like a lightning bolt went through me that day, because the set was on the side of Diamond Head was where they had the studios. And I remember standing there in the bustling set and there's so many crew and everyone's doing their thing. And I thought, oh, this is what I'll do. This will be my job. Okay, I got it. So yes, it definitely made a very big impression on me.
Wow.
Well, what did horror films make a big impression on you as a kid? Like, was there any horror films that were on your radar?
Look, I think the thing for me with horror films is that I'm a real scaredy cat. Like my son's favorite thing to do is to come up behind me and scare me and me go, because I do it 95,000 times a day. And my poor husband, if I walk around a corner and he's standing there and I don't expect him there, I'll go,
my boyfriend does the same. Every time I walk around a corner and surprise him, he does that.
Well, okay, so there you understand. And what happened was, I think one of the first horror films that really made an impact on me was Wait Until Dark with, is it Audrey Hepburn and Alan Bates?
We just saw that play.
Yes.
Oh, did you?
Uh-huh.
Yes,
Yeah.
one of Tim's best friends was in
Vanessa
it.
White. It's a really good, it's a play, but it's a good movie too.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. And it's that it's the same kind of thing with what Friday the 13th, and what Jason does is that you think somebody's dead and then they, and that is just the best. That is when I went, oh, okay, this is good stuff.
That's great. And so before we dive into Friday the 13th Part 8, we were lucky enough to catch you in a 1985 TV movie called Terror at London Bridge,
Yes.
where you are the first victim of a resurrected Jack the Ripper. And you have this big chase scene. You're like the opening scene victim, and it's actually a pretty violent death for a TV movie at the time. But we were just wondering, how did you get involved with this movie, and what was it like filming that whole chase on the bridge?
Yeah, that was great. It was, the normal audition process. Went in and did the audition and had to go meet with the producers and we shot at Lake. We actually shot at Lake Havasu, where the London Bridge has been resurrected, and that whole shoot, it was like from midnight to 5 a.m. And when we did the running down the bridge, and I'm in high heels, which was, who knew?
Nice treat.
I could run down the bridge in high heels and then go down the stairs, because he jumps over the railing to get me on the stairs. But my blood curdling scream, the police department got like, I don't know how many phone calls, because this woman was screaming over and over and over again.
Oh, wow. That is amazing. Well, I take it then you didn't do it in one take.
No, it was actually a really tricky thing, because he did have to jump and then take the knife around my neck. And it was, it was tricky. I remember.
I actually thought that was very violent for TV.
Yeah. We were thinking, they don't show the details of like you getting your throat slit, but like even for a 1985 TV movie.
For NBC, I agree.
Yeah.
It was a movie of the week.
Yeah. And another thing, so the movie has a star-studded cast in it, including yourself, complete with the Hoff himself, David Hasselhoff, and other big names in horror like Adrian Barbeau and I never can get his name.
It's okay.
Euliger. Did you get to meet the Hoff or Adrian Barbeau or Clue during filming?
No, I didn't. I actually worked with Clue on another pilot that we did in Hawaii called The Mackenzies of Paradise Cove.
Oh.
And Clue's a great guy. He's a lovely guy.
Yeah.
And, but no, I thought I was going to see him. By the time I was dead, they were,
they're like, we're good. You're dead. And I had a feeling maybe that would be because your scene is separate. It's like the opening scene and
you and the killer.
Yeah, exactly. But
me and Jack.
Yeah, it's just like looking back, there's so many big names in this like NBC movie of the week. We were like, and Jack the Ripper being resurrected. We were like, we have to check this out. And I think it's available for streaming for all our listeners. Yeah.
Check it out. Check it out.
So jumping right into Friday 13 Part 8, I was very lucky. I'm a little older than Matt. I got to see it on the big screen when it opened on July 28th, 1989. I loved it. Okay. My question is, what was your audition process like?
Do you remember what scene you had to do or anything like that?
I had to do the scene in the car with Rennie, giving her the pen. And I went in and I read, the casting director's name was David Cohn, and he was one of the sweetest men I have ever met. And did the scene with him. And then I got a call back and did the call back with Rob Hedden, who was the director. And it's funny because Rob and I have reconnected in the last few years, and we've gone out to lunch, and I completely remember hearing the news. I did not get the part, and I sent a big bouquet of flowers to David saying that was the most amazing audition process. Thank you for, how great this was. And, I can't tell you how much I appreciate all your help. And Rob says, no, I booked you from day one. And I know for a fact that I was not booked and I was released from the project.
Oh, wow.
I know.
At the time, was it Friday 13 Part 8 Jason Takes Manhattan? Because it was
totally that. But I think there was somebody else that Paramount wanted in that role. And I don't know the details, and Rob has obviously blocked it out. But I was because I wasn't at the read through or anything. I got there and they had already been shooting 3 or 4 days. And
we didn't know that. And we especially Tim, knows everything about this. Wait, but so you weren't, God, I wish we could see, who that original
Jennifer
person.
Grey.
No.
It was Jennifer Grey. Yeah. No, that is so, okay. So so then when you were reading and you did the scene in the car, did you read at all with Jensen Daggett or any of the other people who auditioned for Rennie? We read, and I don't even know if you know, that Elizabeth Berkley, Dee Dee Pfeiffer, and Pamela Anderson auditioned for Rennie. I don't even know if I didn't know if you read. I can't
imagine. I can't imagine anybody else but Jensen. She was so perfect for the role. And luckily we met. We didn't meet until we got up to Vancouver. And thankfully we had wonderful chemistry from the minute we met. And it was very easy to create that teacher-student relationship with her because she was just divine.
Yeah.
And before you got the role, did you do any research and go back and watch parts 1 through 7?
No, I did watch part 1, but I was in a trivia contest not too long ago, and they said something about Kevin Bacon being in Friday the 13th. And I said, oh God, no. I said that Kevin Bacon wasn't in Friday the 13th, part 1.
Wait. So you only watched Friday 13th part 1. Were you confused who the killer was in part 8? Because in part 1, it's the mother.
No, I knew that the guy in the mask was the bad guy. Except the problem was that, again, Jason Hodder could not be a nicer human being.
Oh, Kane Hodder.
Kane Hodder, sorry.
Yes. No.
Kane Hodder could not.
I'm sure he gets that a lot.
He does. And even on my days off, I had to go check out who he was killing. Every day he'd say, okay, so who am I going to kill today? And how am I going to do it?
Oh my God. So you mentioned a little bit about Rob Hedden, the director who you've gotten back in touch with. And apparently this was the first feature film that he had ever written and directed. What was his directing style like? What was the vibe like on set?
The vibe was very, very relaxed. He knew what he wanted, but it was a bit of an ensemble piece because it was VC and Jensen and Scotty and Peter Mark and myself for so many scenes of the movie. Mm-hmm. And so Rob wrangled us all very well. And Peter Mark and I wasn't nearly as old as Peter, but Peter Mark and I felt like we were the elders of the group and we would have to wrangle the children. So,
really? Did you guys get along with the younger cast? Because there's such a large younger cast.
Oh, we all got along so well. Yeah, it was really fun. It was, yeah, we had so much fun, and we would hang out on the weekends and actually became very good friends.
A lot of your scenes are with Peter Mark Richmond, who unfortunately passed away last year.
He did.
Any memories with him, or?
Look, he was so good at playing an asshole. That was just the thing. He was so good at it. And what was amazing is that he couldn't have been a more kinder person. His wife came and visited on the set, and they had something like 5 or 6 children.
Yeah, I read he had a lot of kids.
A lot of kids, and was such a family man. But then he could turn on a dime and just say these wretched things as this character, and cut you at your knees. It was like, wow, you are so good. And he was fun to play with in scenes because he relished being that character.
That's so cool to hear, because he really is awful in the movie. I mean, like, I almost feel like he's just as much of a villain as Jason. Like, he just is so mean, and
he is that character you do want to see. Die.
And it's so satisfying when he does get killed, because
it's so gross.
Yeah, because he is, but that's so, and it is funny to hear, like, especially the difference in the real, like, that he's such a nice guy, and that, as soon as
he was stereotyped,
they said cut. He was just like probably the nicest person ever.
Totally. Absolutely. There were no prima donnas on the set at all.
Well, you briefly mentioned him, but I wanted to call out Kane Hodder, because that was the second of the 4 films in which he played Jason Voorhees. And, horror fans, Friday the 13th fans, love Kane Hodder in that role. And I read some stories that he brought a lot of levity to the set, that he kind of was joking and stuff. And I was wondering, you did speak a little bit about it, but was he kind of like a jokester on set? Was he, especially when he was out of the mask?
Always. Well, hardly, on set, he was never out of the mask, which was interesting. He was always, if he was going to be on set, he always wanted to be in the mask, and he wanted to be Jason. But yes, he would come up and just do that breathing, like, and just to freak you out. And the thing that you don't know about keep on calling him Jason, about Kane, we would go out and we found trivia nights around Vancouver. And this guy is like the trivia king. And then I find out he's Mensa. Like, he knows everything about everything.
Jason Voorhees is a genius.
I believe it.
So freaking smart. He was the best team member because we always won. So it was great.
Wow. Oh, first when you said trivia, for some reason I thought it was Friday the 13th trivia, but you just mean in general trivia.
No, general, just random.
All topics.
Random.
Wow. That is so cool.
Sean Robertson is played by Scott Reeves, but before Scott Reeves was Lee Coleman. Were you around for the guy that played Sean Robertson for 1 week?
No, well, see, that's the thing, because I came in late, so I never met that guy. And that's why I don't know. I never met him. And he must have not really been good, because
well, I wanted to ask, because, when you read, and you never get the full story when you read stuff on the internet or see, they said he didn't have chemistry with Jensen Daggett. So we were going to ask if you had been there, if you had witnessed this lack of chemistry, or what was going on. I just feel like, as an actor, if you told me, hey, you have no chemistry with this person.
Scott Reeves brought the heat.
Yeah, he's a hottie.
He did. And the thing about, Scotty, is that he was so madly in love with his wife, whose name escapes me at this minute.
She's also a soap star. I do know that.
She is a soap star. And they had done the soap together, and they were, madly, madly, madly in love. And the fact that he could create that chemistry with Jensen was really magic.
Poor Jensen. She couldn't date him.
Was Jensen single at the time?
I think she was. Yes. Yeah.
It's good to date your co-star.
No. So let's talk filming locations, because I know there's a bunch in this movie. And first off, there's the Lazarus cruise ship scenes. And we were wondering how many were most of them actually filmed on a ship? Or I know because some of the scenes when there's water and you're escaping into the lifeboat, that was kind of like filmed in a tank. And I wonder if you could tell us about some of those
Was
scenes.
it pleasant?
Oh my God. It's never a good sign when you're on set and you're looking at the entire crew and they are wearing Arctic style jackets with hoods zipped up and scarves around their necks. And it's like, wait. Why are you guys all dressed up like that? We're just in a sweater and pants, and you guys should all take off your coats and be cold with us too. Yes, that water tank was torture. It was cold, very, very cold. And that was in the boat. Again, it's Scotty and VC and Jensen and I and the dog, right?
Wait, so then, I mean, the interior cruise ships, those were filmed on a cruise ship, but you're saying
those were all on the cruise ship itself. Yes.
So when Jensen gets thrown overboard, that's just in a water tank.
When Jensen gets thrown overboard, that was, yes, because it was not in the water outside. Yeah. Correct. Okay, she would have gotten hyperthermia.
But the water was freezing.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh gosh.
And I know that you guys were probably dealing with a lot of wind and rain machines, like you said, as you were like escaping during a storm. So those were freezing cold too.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. And wow. And the captain's, shooting the scenes in the captain's cabin with and it was before the guy died. I can't think of his name either. Who got impaled?
Yeah, he was like the helper.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, the helper of the captain. Yeah. The
helper. The helper. But trying to fit all of us into the captain's cabin was hilarious. And Peter, because he was so big and tall, it was like, okay, you got to be shorter and smaller,
And you had to fit the big camera in there, right?
And the camera. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Wow. So your character makes it to Manhattan with a few others, is one of the lucky ones that makes it to Manhattan. But yes. I know that a ton of scenes that were supposed to be filmed in New York weren't because of budget and were filmed in Vancouver. So did you actually film at all in the Big Apple, or were all your scenes in Vancouver?
No, the only people that went to New York were Kane and Jensen and Scotty.
Okay, so those were the only scenes that were filmed in New York. So all the alleyways and everything were Vancouver?
That was back streets, Vancouver.
Oh my God. So you're in a movie called Jason Takes Manhattan, and you did not get to go to Manhattan.
I did not.
No.
In the DVD extras, after Rennie gets pushed over by the bitchy girl, then you two have a conversation, and in the deleted scene, you reveal that the only other person that was in the water, because she talks about her nightmare, was Jason Voorhees. But do you know why your scene was snipped, like where you revealed Jason Voorhees? But
it seemed pretty important to the storyline. It was one of the deleted scenes, and we were like, why did they cut this?
It's not in the final film.
I don't know. I mean, obviously, maybe they don't tell people like why they cut certain things, but you have this monologue where you're like connecting her traumatic memory to Jason Voorhees, and they cut that, and we were like, what?
Yeah, I don't know. You never know why things get edited out, whether it's, plot line or not wanting to give that away, or the movie was running too long. You just never know.
Yeah, that's the thing. It just seemed, because a lot of times, you watch deleted scenes and you're like, we get why they cut this.
Well, my guess is later on it's revealed that the main principal was so mean, and like it was more of like he put her life in danger with Jason.
Oh, yes. Her uncle did when he didn't save her.
Her uncle.
Yeah, her uncle. I was like, the principal.
The principal.
Oh, yes, because he's her uncle too. Yeah, no, that's true. But it's funny because then there's some scenes like that one where we're like, no, this is pretty integral to the plot, right. But you never know. So unfortunately, your character, Colleen, does end up meeting her demise toward the end of the film. But unlike most of the other victims, she actually does not get killed by Jason. Instead,
No.
she gets killed when the police car crashes and blows up. So first off, I've got to ask you, why doesn't Colleen get out of the car with everyone else? Because we're all rooting for her.
I know. And I don't know if we were at the same screening, Tim, but at my screening at the Chinese Grauman Theater back in 89, that scene happens and you hear someone in the back of the theater going, the lady in the car, the lady in the car.
Well, Rennie doesn't have anyone to turn to.
Well, do they, but in all honesty, I know we're kind of joking. Do they tell you, like, obviously you're reading the script and you see that your character dies, but did you wonder, like, why doesn't my character, I mean, do they say, oh, she's knocked out, or did they explain to you why you stayed in the car?
No, they did not.
Oh,
No.
because, and then another question I wanted to ask you about that scene is that, were you, as Barbara, disappointed with this ending for your character just because she had made it so far, you know?
And I mean, like, you don't have the fun of getting killed by Jason.
Yeah, like if you're going to get killed, at least get killed by Jason. Were you, as the actress,
did you want a bloody death?
Were you, and you can be honest, were you disappointed with the ending for poor Colleen?
No, actually, getting barbecued in a car, I kind of liked. And the fact that, it really bothers Kane that I'm the one that got away.
Yeah.
That's true. You did not get, so you are not a victim of Jason. You are a victim of the film.
Bad driving.
Bad driving.
I
Bad driving.
wish
Now, technically, if we go into the technical side of the movie and of the police car, when we shot the scene where in the back seat it is myself and Peter and Jensen and Scotty, the five of us in the back seat of this little tiny car, and we've got VC's head that is up on the dashboard that we're looking at. Do you know that the back seats of police cars don't have door handles?
Yeah, because that's what I was going to say. Cop cars you can't get out of.
That's right.
You probably couldn't get out of the car.
I couldn't get out. But then if that's the case, whoever was sitting next to me in the back seat.
Shut the door on you.
No, how did they get out?
Either they crawled out over the front seat and came out the front door, or if they opened that back door, that's not good. So I actually don't know. You'd have to go back and look at that scene.
It is a hard hit. So, I mean, you could.
It is a hard hit.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of plot details that, if you look too closely, it may not make quite sense. But do you think, or were you told that Jason was holding on to the lifeboat the entire time when you guys were rowing from the cruise ship to Manhattan? Because suddenly he just appears there and
he knows the butterfly.
Either he's a great swimmer or he was holding on the whole time. Do you have any theories on that?
Yeah, he was just the anchor that was pulling us along. Yes.
And it is really funny. You got to I guess, have a little bit of suspension of disbelief.
I never thought about that.
Well, because, you all escape the cruise ship, leave Jason on the cruise ship. You're rowing, you get to Manhattan, and suddenly Jason comes up in Manhattan. And I was like, I remember as a kid being like, I guess he can either hold his breath a long time.
How did he get there? Yeah,
I know.
I guess if you're really thinking, though, and I've read that people wondered how Crystal Lake, a lake connected to the Atlantic Ocean.
I think that is the biggest, over the years, that is the biggest bugaboo that fans have.
But
right?
I love it. I just accepted it. I was like, everything I'm seeing is true.
I agree, Tim. I'm with you.
That's the thing.
So when the movie's like all done and filmed and wrapped, was there like a screening or like a red carpet screening or a screening at Paramount?
Yeah, we had a red carpet screening at Chinese Grauman.
Oh yeah, that's the one you were saying. Oh wow. So there was a whole premiere and everything.
Yeah, it was great.
Wow. Great. So all the actors, everyone was there from the film.
Yeah.
What was it like seeing it for the first time?
It was wild seeing it for the first time on the big screen. And and just seeing it all pulled together and all the different kills, because just, the prosthetics that were involved, especially, VC had so many heads. So you had to have a head for being knocked off, and then a head for coming down into the garbage can, and then a head for being in the cop car. So there were VC heads everywhere.
And just so listeners know real quick, VC is the character who has the very, very famous boxing scene with Jason on the top of the building, where after boxing him for about a minute and a half, gets his head just knocked off.
One hit
from Jason. Good old Kane Hodder hits him once and his head goes flying. Sorry, go on.
Exactly.
What's your personal opinion with the title, Jason Takes Manhattan? Because technically he doesn't get to Manhattan until like the last 10 minutes of the movie. Are you happy with the title?
Technically I've never really thought about it.
Do you think it should have been called Jason Takes a Cruise Ship?
Yeah.
Yeah. Or the Lazarus, the Lazarus something. I don't know.
Have you gotten, but in all honesty, I've read that the director has like apologized to fans and stuff for not having more time in Manhattan, especially when it's called Jason Takes Manhattan. Do you hear that a lot? Are people pissed that there's not enough
or just
New
say,
York?
Who cares?
Yeah, look, I think especially when you're making a part 8, it's just going to be hard, and you're not reinventing the wheel, and the fans want a certain thing. And should they have had more of New York? Probably, yes. If it is Jason Takes Manhattan. But, if I didn't give away secrets, you'd think all of those back alleys were New York. So there you go.
Yeah, and there's at least a good amount of time in Manhattan.
Well, I mean, they get Times Square.
Yes, exactly. They get Times Square. Yeah. They get the little subway action. They get some alleys. New York's finest.
and on the original movie poster, it was like, "I love New York." And did you see the original?
Yes,
yeah.
Yes.
The one that got banned. Right?
Yeah, it got banned. Yeah. Do you have one up in your house?
No, I don't. Man, I wish I did.
Do you, now that it's been 33 years since this film, do you still keep in touch with any of the cast and crew? I know you said you got in touch with Rob lately. Or do you keep in touch with any of the actors or crew members?
Oh, I'm still in touch with Kane. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Jason himself.
And VC. Absolutely.
The boxer.
And who played the boxer. And I'm also in touch with Tiffany.
Oh, okay.
I think she might have been the first kill.
Yeah, she's the girl that hides.
Is she the one? She's the opening scene kill.
Yes.
Oh, wow. Okay, that's really cool. Especially, I mean, because you're all part of this iconic franchise and this iconic sequel. So it's cool because it's almost like you share this bond with them that nobody else has because you were all part of this movie. After Friday the 13th Part 8, just because, we're a horror podcast, we like to explain, as much as we love Friday the 13th, there are some other horror movies you were in. And one that we found in 1990 was called Beyond Darkness, that also featured hottie Jean LeBrock as Father Peter. Do you remember and did you enjoy working on this supernatural thriller?
Yeah, that was actually filmed by Claudio Fragrasso, who was an Italian director, and we shot it in a little town, Slidell, Louisiana, outside of New Orleans, in this house. The house was amazing. And Michael Paul Stevenson played my son, who went on to do Trolls 2.
Yeah.
And so he and I have stayed in touch over the years. And it was an amazing experience. Claudio didn't speak a lick of English.
Makes your job very easy.
Must have been fun then.
So I would do a scene and he would go, and I'd turn to the director of photography and I'd say, "What did he say?" And he goes, "Just do it again." It's like, "No, that's not what he said." He goes, "Just do it again."
Wow. But by the way, just so you know, you have an incredible line at the beginning of that movie where I think it's there's nothing better than going to bed with a sexy reverend. He was
so good looking. I got lost in him.
And boy, is he sexy. So
he is very. Yeah, I've lost touch with Gene. I have no idea where he is these
We'll
days.
track him down.
Yeah, we'll track him. We'll get a reunion going. No, there's a lot of crazy like stunts and things like, and it looked like it must have been fun, other than the not being able to speak the same language as your director.
Right.
But because there's like a scene where you're running after your husband with an axe before you know it's him. There's also another scene where you literally like jump into a mirror. Do you remember how they did that?
They had actually cut a hole into a wall. And I guess I must have been very early, special effects days, because I had to physically go from being inside the room and jump into the hole in the wall to the rafters behind the house.
Wait, you're kidding. You didn't really jump into a mirror.
I really didn't. No.
I can't even imagine.
But I did.
CGI.
I did run around the house with an axe, though.
Was it a real axe or just
that was a real axe?
Ooh, that's room for air.
You know what? So then you had a little bit of taste of being Jason Voorhees.
That's right.
I did.
Okay, so jumping ahead to present day, we saw that you recently returned to horror in a Hitchcockian short film that you co-wrote and starred in called Over the Edge. Can you tell us a little bit about this project and how it came to be?
Yes. My director, Enzo Tedeschi, this is so funny because he was on Instagram and he had posted a picture of Michael Paul Stevenson, who I had just mentioned played my son. And it was a picture from Troll 2. And so I just said in the comments, I played his mother in Beyond Darkness. And Enzo came back and said, oh my God, I can't believe it. So we ended up meeting up for a coffee here in Sydney and bonded over horror films. And he's done a bunch of horror here in Australia. And we said, let's just keep in touch. And I had this idea for a short film. And where I live, there is this escarpment across the valley from me. And I would stand at the kitchen window and wonder, what would I do if I saw two people on the escarpment and one of them got pushed off?
Wow. So what would you do?
Right. So I approached Enzo after we had met. It was probably 9 months later. And I talked to him on the phone and said, look, I have this idea I want to run past you. And he said, can I direct it?
Oh, wow.
And I said, of course you can. He said, great, write me a script. And then, so I had to sit down and write a script because I've never written a script before. And so, I sat down and wrote the script and he cleaned it up and we shot a short film.
That's amazing.
Awesome.
So did you always intend to make it a short, or had you thought maybe this could be made into a feature?
Look, it was always intended to be a short, but now that we've done it, we are looking at making a long form of Simone and she's a composer, and we're looking at what if she loses her mojo about being able to compose, because she composes for horror films. Ooh. So if she loses her mojo for being able to compose music, what does she do to get her mojo back?
Kill people.
She kills them. She pushes them off cliffs. No, wait. So is this because we found information about, but we weren't able to watch it? Is it available to stream? Is it on streaming platforms?
It is available to stream. If you go on deadhouse.tv,
okay,
it's on there.
We'll check it out.
This sounds great. I can't wait.
You'll love it. It's just great. I'm so proud of it.
That is great. Well, congratulations.
Yeah.
Wrapping up, we just have a few more questions and then we'll let you enjoy your Australian Sunday.
Yes.
So if Friday 13th Part 8 is on TV, do you sit down and watch it? And has your son seen it?
My son has seen it, yes. I had to wait till he was, I think, 12 or 13. I did wait a while before showing it to him.
And how does he feel about you getting blown up in the car?
That's gotta be weird.
Well, but I think actually, as a child of someone, I'd rather see, if I have to watch my parent die in a movie, your death scene than getting like mutilated by Jason Voorhees.
Yeah, right. Yes. Yeah. I'm sure he enjoys watching me get barbecued in a car than making out with somebody. So yeah.
Yeah, that's
That's
true. Yes. Yeah.
And have you ever attended a horror convention? And what is the one question your fans ask you?
Yes, I went to to a convention in Atlanta a few years ago, and it was just the most wonderful, wonderful experience. And just being able to talk to the fans. And probably the biggest question I get is, was Stephen King's pen real?
Oh my gosh, funny.
Oh, the pen that you give Rennie at the beginning.
Yeah.
That's a nice gift.
That is. We should have asked that question.
Yeah,
Damn
that
it.
is we took the most obvious question and didn't ask.
That's so funny of all questions, but like, yeah.
But is it?
Yeah, yeah. Wow.
No.
And is Rennie using that today? You know, you never find out what happens to Rennie after
Did you
this
keep
movie.
that as a memento? Pen?
I
Who
did
has that
not.
pen?
I don't know.
Let's track it down. Jensen, tell us
Yeah,
where
right?
it is. No. So, Barbara, well, first off, you've been incredible today. Thank you so much for taking the time with us. We have one final question for you, and this is something that we ask everyone at the end of our interviews, and it'll put you on the spot a little bit. If you need time to think, it's totally fine. But what is one thing that you can tell us about your experience working on Friday the 13th Part 8, Jason Takes Manhattan, that you've never told any other interviewer, any convention, any publication, any podcast, that you've just never told anyone? Just one thing about working on Part 8.
Okay, you ready?
We are ready.
When I lived in Hawaii, my brother and I and my cousin moved into a house in Nu'uanu, and we were renting it from a woman named Juanita Hu, and she had her 2 children. She had just gotten a divorce, and she and her 2 kids lived below the house, and we lived in the upper part of the house. And we probably rented the house for a year and a half. I think we were terrible tenants because we had a lot of parties. But her children were lovely, and Juanita was very sweet. We're having dinner one night, and I look over, I say, Juanita? It was Kelly Hu's mother.
Oh my gosh.
Wow. And for listeners, Kelly Hu is one of the classmates that she's friends with.
She was the one who pushed Rennie off the boat.
But yeah, she was the blonde in her were mean to Rennie.
Yeah,
They
she's
were
doing
cocaine.
She's doing cocaine. That was Kelly Hu's mother.
That was Kelly Hu's mother.
What a small world.
What a small world, huh?
What
Wow.
are the odds of that?
That is such a random but cool connection. How did you even put it together? Or
Because
later?
I wouldn't have recognized. I wouldn't have recognized Kelly because she was a little girl when we rented the house. But I recognized Juanita as my landlady.
So you put it together while filming Part 8 and after meeting Kelly?
Yes.
Did you tell Kelly?
Yes.
And what
my
did
gosh.
Kelly say? Was she like, you were the horrible tenant?
She goes, leave Juanita alone.
You were those terrible people that lived above us. I
Stop the
don't think it
parties.
was a particularly happy time for the family because, they were going through a divorce and a broken family. So it wasn't something that Kelly was like, oh, isn't this fantastic? It was like, oh.
That is funny. Wow, that is such a
That's a good
random
one.
connection. But it's so cool that years later, then it like clicks to you. Oh, wow, I've met your mother. How I met your mother.
Yeah.
Wow, that is a great story. Well, Barbara, thank you so much. Seriously, you've been great. We're big
Yes,
fans. We were so
awesome.
excited to talk with you, and you have been just a delight. So thank you.
Thank you, Matt. Thank you, Tim. It was just real fun.
And again, we're so grateful for you taking the time.
Yes.
Oh,
thank you so
my
much.
pleasure. Thanks for asking, guys.
Okay,
All the
take
best.
care. Bye,
Bye.
Barbara.
Have fun in Australia.
Thank you.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of Happy Horror Time.
This podcast is hosted by Matt Emmer and myself, Tim Murdoch, and co-produced and edited by Jacob Randall.
We now release episodes every Monday, and in each episode, we either review horror movies that just came out or interview stars and insiders from iconic horror films. You can stream all our episodes directly from our website, that's happyhorrortime.com, or wherever you listen to podcasts.
And remember, our reviews do contain spoilers, so we always post the movies we're discussing a few days in advance on our social media pages, so listeners can check them out ahead of time.
And speaking of social media, make sure you follow our pages on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Happy Horror Time. We even started putting our interviews up on YouTube along with our horror short film, Come In. You've got to check it out. You can find us on YouTube by searching for Happy Horror Time.
If you'd like to support the podcast, please sign up to be a patron at patreon.com/happyhorrortime.
That's patreon.com/happyhorrortime. Patrons get access to our growing library of monthly bonus episodes and other fun benefits like ad-free episodes that are out a day in advance, our monthly newsletter, participation in polls, and autographed Happy Horror Time stickers.
Woo! And if you'd like to contact us, please send us an email at happyhorrortime@gmail.com. Tell us what you love, how sexy you think we are, whatever.
I'm Matt Emmer.
And I'm Tim Murdoch.
And we hope you have a happy horror time.